Okay, so for my interview and paper, I'm going to focus mostly on rehabilitation and the benefits that exercise provides for an overall increase in general wellness. It's mostly from chapter 23. So for the person I'm interviewing, I'm going to be interviewing my mom, who is a breast cancer survivor. And the reason I wanted to interview her was because she was used to a normally active lifestyle, yoga, walking, jogging, you know, all the little things. And with the breast cancer, it hindered a lot of things because she was not allowed to do, through doctor's orders, she was not allowed to do a lot of stuff for a long time. So basically, I'm just going to go through her story and ask her some questions. So she missed, at the very beginning, she was diagnosed around Thanksgiving of last year. She only missed, surprisingly, about 2 weeks of work after her first surgery, which was a double mastectomy. She had no exercise for the first 8 weeks. And when I say no exercise, she wasn't allowed to do anything that involved, she couldn't break a sweat. And after 8 weeks, he released her to do moderate walking, and those are literally his words where, you can't break a sweat. So very, very slow walking. So I'm going to go through her rehabilitation process and see her reactions of how she reacted to the treatments and the long expansion of time it took to get back to normal. We talked a lot in this class about finding a method of treatment that best fits your individual. So for my mom, she had a very active lifestyle, so they wanted to get her back to that as quickly as possible. So they put her on the 8-week plan, correct?
Correct.
And she got to do some moderate walking. And then after that, it was how long again after the release, the 8-week release?
Well, after 8 weeks, I could do some minor walking, and then the second surgery happened at the end of April.
Yeah.
So then I was back to doing nothing for a little bit because it was.
Yeah, the second surgery was a reconstruction, so it was just another, just the second part of the first surgery. And let's see, so we eased back to normal, and how many weeks did we, it took around 8 months for us to get back to normal, correct? Was that what?
From the diagnosis till I was released to
So,
go back to exercising, yes.
So the reason, I thought she was such a great candidate to interview was because it was such a long expansion of time with such uneven levels of, here for these first 2 months you go from being this active person to, getting hit with this, and then for the 8 weeks you're, pretty much doing nothing, so you have to deal with that. And there was a lot of mental issues, you have to handle on your own there that she went through. So to get to the specifics, I wanted to talk to her about, I explained the whole locus of control thing, how did it affect her personally. So just some questions. Did anything feel out of your control as far as being able to exercise? Like, did you feel like, in certain words, like a hopelessness, or like being discouraged, so to speak, when you were kind of going through this process, when the doctor was telling you, hey, you can't do this, you have to take baby steps, I'm sure frustration was a big thing, but just wanted to know your personal how it made you feel going from such an active 45-hour work week and exercising every day. Like, how did that make you feel?
Well, it is very discouraging because your body's changing, and then of course you're getting older and everything too, but it takes a long time to get back to where you're at, and that every week, every day, whatever, that you can't do anything. It's going to be twice as hard to lose any weight that you gained or any muscle that you were gaining. Mm-hmm. It's all gone. It's a whole lot worse than having a baby, because at least that ends, and stuff, because it's your whole body. It's very disappointing, and you do have to struggle knowing that, okay, you're alive, and it's just going to be a long road.
Yeah. And I understand like you were even restricted on like cleaning because you couldn't lift, you
Yes.
couldn't jarring motions, you couldn't lift so many things. You
No
had
straining.
any pressure on the chest cavity was a
Yeah.
no go for a long time.
Yes, it
Um,
was.
So on to thank you, but on to another. The next step really of that is coping, because we talk a lot about coping in this class and about how each individual needs some sort of support in some sort of way. Each has their own individual preference, but I know for years I feel like a big was social support. We talked about like having friends support you, family support you, not just be you.
Yes.
You know, I feel like you're a very strong individual, but do you feel that social support is very important, like outside people, outside factors being there for you?
Well, yes, because you think your family, like in my case, you and Dad,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to be there for me, and y'all were. But I mean, I had tremendous support at work from my coworkers to my boss. It's just like, what can we do for you? Don't do anything. I mean, and friends that I've had for years, the same thing. It's like, what can we do for you? And we're thinking about you.
Yeah.
That support is great.
Yeah, that's great. Some more questions for you. Did you happen to experience on, with the whole, emotional side of things, did you experience any anxiety or depression with this? I'm sure you did, but.
Well, yes, you do. Well, and from just the active part of it, is because you can't do anything, so you don't know, and you don't have to be a fitness fanatic to want to stay healthy. And when you can't do anything and you can't control it, it makes you anxious. Is it ever going to end? And then of course, and then all that. I mean, it's not. I didn't have severe depression or anything like that, but you do have sad times that you cannot wait till everything's done, so you
Very
get back
eager.
to regular activities.
Very eager.
Yes, very eager.
So can you say that, exercise overall does improve your mental health?
Yes, it does.
Makes you feel better.
Yes, and I've been instructed to go at it as hard as I can now to fix that.
Yeah, that's very good. Along with those other things we talked about, anxiety, depression, I'm sure you've had other feelings. There's 1,000 things that people have 1,000 different reactions to being injured or having an illness that restricts them from everyday life. Well, I'm sure you probably had feelings of irritation, or you're tired, maybe restless. Probably even had some maybe muscle tension, like some tension from just not being able to do stuff, and that maybe even just from stress alone.
Yes.
Then did even simple things like when you went from the not doing anything till 8 weeks later to the simple walking, did that moderate walking make a significant difference? Even though you couldn't really.
Well, it did. It's kind of like if it's been raining for a month and then it stops raining, how that sunshine,
That
how
little
great
bit.
it feels. It's like a little glimmer, and even though maybe it didn't do anything, as far as making me healthier, better, you know what I'm saying? Because it wasn't really anything other than walking to the mailbox basically, but maybe it's just running a circle at the track. But how it made you feel to be able to finally do. It is just like, it was almost just as good as somebody telling you lost 20 pounds.
Yeah.
It is, yes.
Well, people perceive injuries or illnesses in a various amount of ways. I know we talked about in this class specifically about how differently individuals will accept their current status of injury or illness, and it seems like you've handled yours very well and very efficiently, through the whole process, from you as an individual, for the outside factors, your doctors, everybody came together and made a secure plan, which is, our goal for this class was to learn how to pretty much do that, to make sure the individual is taken care of, and it seems like you were in this case. So from my standpoint, and I believe from my classmates' standpoint, you took your disease in this situation as an opportunity to display courage. So thank you.
Thank you.